And a war of words has erupted between Prince Harry and the chair of African charity Centre, Dr. Sophie Chanduka.
At some point on Tuesday, Prince Harry authorized the release of a damaging piece of news to the outside world without informing me, or my country directors, or my executive director. And can you imagine what that attack has done for me, on me, and the 540 individuals in the Centre organizations and their family? That is an example of harassment and bullying at scale.
Now, Prince Harry quit the charity just last week, which has clearly ruffled some feathers. Now, we've spoken about Centre on the show before. It was co-founded by Prince Harry back in 2006 with the aim of helping children and young people in Lesotho and Botswana, particularly those affected by HIV/AIDS.
One of the big issues has been the dependence of Africa and Africans on aid. We need to move into the entrepreneurial space and create a future that allows for people to fend for themselves and to define their own destinies.
And in recent times, Harry, he held a charity polo match for Centre in April last year and last visited in October last year. But in November, its charity director, Baroness Linda Chalker, she resigned after 18 years. And in December, its CEO, Richard Miller, he also resigned. Things have evidently not improved. To discuss this some more, I'm joined by Royal Editor for the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers. Russell, the back and forth of allegations regarding Centre continues. Now, what's happened and what's the latest?
Well, indeed, Caroline. You just been through the war of words in part there, but also the huge number of stars who have left in sort of very grey circumstances over the last couple of years. And I think that is really the central point as to what is happening here. You know, Harry has been involved in a war of words with his family over the last couple of years, but now he is in a war of words with the senior members of his team. As you said, last week on Tuesday, he decided to release a statement which had been leaked to one of the British newspapers about him stepping back from his patronage role with his co-founder, Prince Seeiso of Lesotho. And that really is interesting because why did Prince Harry feel moved to do that? I mean, as you said, this is a charity he has huge affection for. It's a charity that he's been recently to do work in across Africa. And the fact that the chair of the Board of Trustees is engaged in this war of words is potentially damaging for Prince Harry. Sophie Chanduka is an Oxford-educated lawyer. She has been on British television over the last 24 hours, and she is now accusing Prince Harry of using harassment and bullying at scale. She also accused Harry of trying to use the Sussex machine against her, and that stems from those pictures we were just seeing of that charity polo match, which was last April in Miami, where there was a bit of an awkward moment where Meghan was handing over a trophy to Prince Harry's winning team. Sophie was there as well, and Meghan appeared to sort of shoo her out the way, to ask her to move along. Prince Harry apparently then, according to Sophie Chanduka, asked Sophie to get involved, to speak to the press and say that there was no issue, and she refused, saying that she didn't want to be involved in such a spat. So there is definitely allegations on both sides here, and I think that this ugly situation that has unfolded is certainly not over yet, because Prince Harry will no doubt want to respond to these claims of bullying and misogyny, and it's quite difficult to see where it will end up.
And what now for Harry? This was such a big piece of who he was and what he did. And you talked about damage. What does this do for his credibility going forward?
Well, the other allegations aimed at him from Sophie Chanduka are quite pointed, because she says that during fundraising to try and attract new donors to the charity, there was a real nervousness around the sort of donor sphere because of the role that Prince Harry had. The donors said that they feared that he wasn't the right person to lead the charity. Now, if if she is leaving that at Harry's door, then I think it's not only damaging for him, but what was the reaction that Prince Harry may have had if he was told these details? Now, Prince Harry, for his part, with Princess has left the door open. I think their statement was quite open-ended, saying that they were heartbroken to have made this decision. They didn't understand why it had come to this point, and the war of words is very much in the camp of the chair and the board of trustees, who have also stepped back. So if Sophie Chanduka was to step back from her role as chair, would there be a case where the board of trustees were reinstated and Prince Harry was? But as you've seen in that interview with Sky News in the UK, she is not going without a fight. And I think that the way that she's presented herself is very measured, very assured. As I said, she's very well educated as an Oxford University lawyer. So, it's impossible to see that Harry cannot get away from commenting on this. So watch this space, I think.
I think so. I think there's a bit more water to go under that bridge just yet. But also onto the King, and a concerning week for the royal family with the King admitted to hospital, even though for a short time. Now, he's now out of hospital. How will this affect what he takes on work-wise going forward?
Well, I think first and foremost, yes, we do understand that the King is in good form, as people I've spoken to at Buckingham Palace have been very positive. They've said, his treatment is going in the right direction. This happened on Thursday when he was admitted for observation at the London clinic, where he'd been treated previously last year for his prostate operation last January. He was kept in for a few hours before doctors were able to discharge him. A part of those doctor's orders, if you like, he was told to cancel his engagements on Thursday afternoon and cancel a whole day of engagements in Birmingham on the Friday. So he's now at his country estate in Gloucestershire, in sort of the west of England. And that's, a place where he has found solace and a great comfort throughout his cancer battle. And I think for Charles, he certainly needs to be safe from himself sometimes. I was just looking at the list of engagements he's had, not even just in the last week, in the last few months. And it has been absolutely extraordinary pace. Of course, I was in Australia and Samoa just a few months ago with him. And I did think he looked tired then. He sort of perked up towards the middle and the end of the tour, but he certainly was struggling towards the beginning of it. And I think he is trying to keep this sort of relentless pace in order to try and make up for lost time, is how it has been explained to me. Camilla has said that she's trying to sort of get him to step back from some duties. He doesn't need to work at such a pace. So I think we forget he is 76. He's still undergoing this weekly cancer treatment. Perhaps he does need to be told to dial it down somewhat. And, that will give him the impetus to have more of or more success in the future.
And I think Queen Camilla and Princess Anne are just the people to deliver that message. Now, in amongst all of this, and perhaps my favourite yarn of the week, Prince William is making an appearance on Clarkson's farm. I've got just under a minute left. What prompted this?
Well, it's a great sort of double act. Him and Caleb, cheerful Charlie as well. If you haven't seen Clarkson's Farm, it's a fantastic series for all the family. And Prince William will be featuring in a future episode. But it was part of his the Duke of Cornwall role, the Duchy of Cornwall, which now he oversees as well. And it was all about farming mental health for farmers. How can we sort of help that industry? A typically brutish, tough guy industry for people to be involved in. And it's all about talking about mental health provision, and Prince William has no doubt been an ambassador for mental health in the past, and he's a great ambassador for the farming community in his new role, looking after those farmers as well.
I think it's fabulous. Totally rounded out my week.